happen if they get it going. But any decent team they play, they can't get it going. It's like, they just can't, like Powell, Wesley.
So I guess the idea is to pressure and contain.
Yes, contain.
Yeah. I mean, that's email all over. Stream on. Mark. Stream up. Stream is up. Okay. I have to tell Mr. Kwan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to go live.
Okay.
Here goes Mr. Gilmore.
The 25 to the 30, breaks it to the outside, to the 35 to the 40, the 45 to the 50-yard line, needs to block and gets it at the 45 to the 40, to the 35 to the 30, to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Johnny Williams. Oak Ridge.
Single man left. Helton will roll to the left side. He's in trouble. He fumbles the ball. Intercepted by Oak Ridge. Picked off at the 50. Ron Black 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. You did it one too many times, Todd Helton. That one picked off by Black into the end zone. 64-yard run by Ron Black. And Oak Ridge takes the...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Pizza Inn, as we're going to get our mic situated here, the speaker mic, and we're going to get, Coach, we'll wait till Mark gets the sound going in the Pizza Inn. We are live here at Pizza Inn for our Crunch Time show, and thank you, Mark, appreciate that. week, ladies and gentlemen, and I know there's probably something that I could say right now that it's kind of a phrase when we play Clinton. I probably should say it on the air though, Coach. But guys, are you all excited about playing Clinton on Friday? Yeah! Coach, I know when you took the job, you had to know a little bit about the Clinton Dragons and the rivalry. You know, it's the very first games we ever played in Oak Ridge High School football back in the 1940s were against the Dragons, and it's been a bit of rivalry. In fact, there's been 10 years, chunks where they haven't played, honestly.
Oh, really? Well, I knew a lot about it. Obviously, when I was in high school, we played Clinton. When I was at Maryville, they were in a region, so I knew a lot about
Clinton and kind of the rivalry. When I first started coaching back 16, 15 years ago at AC, Clinton, AC, Oak Ridge, Clinton, obviously big rival games, and knew all about, the rivalry there, and obviously just knew from having friends at Oak Ridge is kind of how one-sided it's been traditionally. And so, it was kind of always, I'd kind of hear them talk about just some of the banner back and forth stuff, maybe back in the 90s and early 2000s when, it was kind of fun when Clinton had some talent, and there was always that year, maybe I guess the year of the Dragon, David, when they were going to get the job done. And so, yeah, I'm very, very familiar with it, and hopefully, obviously, it is very unique right now, but, it's going to be fun and exciting, and, probably be a packed house over there Friday.
Coach, do you have anything going on in your life right now?
Well, obviously, yeah, it's kind of, I guess we'll just kind of backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit about McMinn County and kind of some of the events that went down, and just to kind of clear everything up with everybody out there listening. So we played McMinn last week and ended up, based off the letter of the rule, so, I guess the point of emphasis with high school officiating has always been, the knee pads and, I guess, sideline warnings. So I guess what constitutes a sideline warning is there's a box that is about 3 yards off the sideline that is designated for the officials to run through. There's another box behind that, another 3-yard box, which the turf fields kind of have that in white. So if you go to Blankenship or you watch a turf field, they pretty much have that the official area in white, and then they have the player box in green behind that. Well, obviously at McMinn there was no white box, it was all grass. So we ended up getting, I guess in the first quarter we got a sideline warning. We ended up we were calling a play or whatever, and had a coach in the box or whatever. We get one sideline warning. Then later on in our first offensive play, we ended up calling a pass that had a holding penalty on. So we as coaches saw 2 flags come out because we thought the hold was pretty obvious. So we ended up seeing the holding penalty, the play's going to get called back. It was a little screen to the receiver. So what happened on that play, there was actually another sideline warning thrown on us that I guess I myself had forgot about. So now we're at 2 sideline warnings in the first quarter. Generally when that happens, if you as a staff are not riding the officials, which we weren't, we just arguing about calls, they'll come up and say, hey, you're getting to the point now where if you get another sideline warning, it triggers the personal foul, and if you get the 4th one, it's another one which goes on the head coach. So I guess to fast forward everything, so we're to the point now, it's 3rd quarter. I guess our first offensive play, we throw a pass, and I'm just kind of walking down along the chain line. Official runs by, there's no contact made, you can see it on film. Well, they throw a 3rd sideline warning for being in the box. So what that did, that was also a pass play that was down the sideline. We thought maybe the receiver stepped out of bounds. Well, he didn't. So they actually marked off a 15-yard penalty, and so now we're at 3 sideline warnings. And then, so in my mind, I'm thinking we're just at 2. And then, usually in my mind, like I said, I've been a head coach now for 9 or 10 years. We've never been to the point where you actually get to 3 or 4 sideline warnings unless you're just yelling and screaming at officials or you're just being, kind of unruly over there, which we weren't. So then in the later on in the 3rd quarter, the official, we're transitioning. We're trying to get guys off the field for punt block. We're screaming at them. We're out there, get their attention. He throws the flag again for the 4th sideline warning. So 4 sideline warnings, double unsportsmanlike on the head coach. So the head coach is then removed from the game. So that's when I kind of lost it when they threw me out, because I'm like, wait a minute, this is like, I get the letter of the law, but I mean, an experienced crew, whatever, sometimes they'll clarify stuff and then try to tell you what's going on. So that really never happened. So yeah, so basically I'm removed from the game, and then we ended up finishing the game. Coach Parton kind of took over as the interim for that game and was calling plays. Coach Hawkins, defensive coordinator, he's in the press box calling defense, and then obviously, you got Coach Henderson, Coach Thomas, signaling defense, Coach Chitwood there. Then you have Coach Branson had to signal offense and kind of work with special teams, and Coach Day was working with the offensive line. So pretty much, those guys just kind of had to, for me, being offensive coach and new coach, we've obviously everything kind of, they did a great job stepping up, whatever, and then but yeah, that's kind of what happened, I guess, last week, David. So just to kind of clarify everything, you basically had 4 sideline warnings. And my thing is, it wasn't, and we really weren't riding officials. That's what was weird. It was kind of a unique game to where there weren't a lot of plays. Obviously, we didn't play well. We lost. Sloppy performance for Oak Ridge, and we take full responsibility of that. But it was just kind of unique all the way around. Probably the most unique game I've been a part of in my life.
So, Coach, let's fast forward to this Friday when you take on the Clinton Dragons, and obviously because of an ejection, you are not able to coach this ball game on Friday. What are you going to do, and how is that going to be handled?
So just to kind of let everybody know what goes on, so obviously during a game, there's a lot that goes on during a game when you're actually coaching the game. A lot of our coaches have specific responsibilities. My goal was whenever we found out Saturday, so Saturday me and Coach Gaddis were talking, obviously athletic director, administration, about, in my mind I thought there were only 3 sideline warnings, so we were hoping we could appeal. But once we found out we couldn't appeal and they were all recorded and there was really nothing we could do about overturning the ejection, I said, well, what would be the most logical thing to do to keep everything on Friday night as smooth as possible? Because what we have is, obviously we're going to have a coach call plays and a new coach signal plays, but why not just, obviously Coach Hawkins, our defensive coordinator's in the press box, he's been there all year, so why not just keep things as simple as possible? And then, me and Danielle, my fiance, were talking, and we just kind of thought, we were just kind of talking on the couch about, what could be an option we could do. And we actually mentioned maybe potentially asking Coach Gaddis if he would want to be the interim coach for that game, because, obviously he's in a unique spot because he's our athletic director and he's in school administration, but he also has coached a lot of games as a football coach in Minden Oak Ridge. So I actually approached Coach Gaddis. I actually called him and asked him if he'd be interested in doing that, because to me that made a lot of logical sense, because basically he can be down there on the sidelines as school administrator, just to make sure everybody's staying back, for encouragement. The staff obviously will coach the game. We're keeping the offense, defense, everybody's going to be in their basic roles for the most part on a Friday night game. So, it just made the most sense from just keeping everything smooth. Obviously, it's unique because it's Clinton, so you have a rivalry game, you have adrenaline. So, fortunately, in my opinion, Coach Gaddis said, sure, he'd be happy to do that, and we're thankful he is doing that, and I asked him to do it, and I thought it made a lot of sense for my end of it. So, there's not a lot of, for people that are trying to, say this or say that, that's really what it comes down to, is who could you, and I think it's a unique spot too for him. Now, obviously, if he was not in the school building, or if he was not, an Oak Ridge Schools employee, or if he, whatever, we probably wouldn't have done that. But to me, it made a lot of sense, because he's obviously our AD, and he's coached in over 400 football games, and he's going to know how to do it. And but as far as the play calling goes, we'll have pretty much everybody in, I guess, in their responsibilities from what it usually would be on Friday. And Coach will be down there pretty much just to make sure the sidelines are staying back, just to give encouragement, and just to kind of I guess watch the game from an administrative point of view.
So he won't be like deciding like 4th and 1 or and calls like that, or is that from the assistant coaches?
Yeah, that's pretty much from the assistant coaches. I mean, we've kind of talked about that. Obviously, if it's 4th and 1, we kind of know what we're going to do, based off where we're at in the field position. There's going to be, so pretty much that the staff will decide pretty much all the, I guess the decisions that would be made in a game that come up. But obviously, it's kind of one of those things that, he'll be down there. Maybe, if we need a timeout, obviously, if, he'll be out there calling a timeout and just making sure that pretty much the players are staying back and the sideline's orderly and everybody's just kind of staying under control for the Clinton game.
Coach, having spoken to Coach Gaddis a couple times in the last few days, I think you probably had to twist his arm a little bit because I think he was a little bit hesitant about not wanting to step on your toes. And I know, if you read social media, a lot of people say, well, Coach Gaddis just wants to coach again, but that was not the case.
No. I mean, we don't, it's hard to put a whole lot of stock into that because, that you can get online and type anything you want to, and a lot of the time it's not true. No, I mean, I asked him to do it. I thought it made a lot of sense logically for him to do it. And, I just asked him if he'd be willing to do it, and I tried to persuade him to do it because, to me, I didn't think there was any remote controversy about it. I mean, it's a one-game deal. Obviously, after this game, we'll be back operating as normal, and, he'll be back operating as normal in his athletic director role, and he's at all the games and on the sidelines anyway. So, it obviously just thought it just made a lot of sense logically, and I think it does. And anything else that's out there about this and that's probably not true. Coach, obviously, he's coached a lot of games and is satisfied, in the AD role. But I think this is a kind of a unique spot to where he can help us out, and I think he's excited about it.
Coach, let me ask you one question. And we have highlights, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't do a show last week. We've got McMinn County highlights. We have Carnes highlights. We have junior varsity highlights. Yeah. We have a lot of highlights we're going to get to. But I want to ask you a couple things. And I know you can't really talk about officiating, but on the sideline there's so little room. And you talked about it not having it. Did they give you any warning at all? I mean, just beforehand? Was this something they've been doing?
Well, I mean, down there what happened was there was a medical issue with the original white hat, and the white hat was replaced. I heard that from their head coach before the game. But it was just so bizarre because, usually, I mean, I'll just say this. I mean, usually they'll walk up and generally you get the first sideline warning. They'll say, hey, listen, here's just watch out, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the second one, and then generally the second one happens because maybe you have a coach overstep his boundaries. In this case, that never happened. So there never was us, we're just, I mean, heck, the first half there were like 2 possessions apiece. It was kind of a boring game, really. A lot of clock was just taken off they were just kind of sitting there on the ball, wandering around. So there really wasn't, I don't know, it just was weird, but no, there was no warning. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's the letter of the law, but it was their head of association, has communicated with some of us just saying, hey, maybe when you have more of a veteran crew, it doesn't get to that point. Because, I get, if you eject a coach for, arguing calls or coming out on the field, yelling and screaming to fit, that's a little bit different than just maybe having a foot over the line, watching a play, and then you're not even really bothering the officials. So there really was no warning, but it is what it is. I mean, that's just part of it.
So, Coach, on Friday, are you going to go watch the Barbie movie? What are you going to be doing on Friday night?
Well, I mean, Friday we'll be able to, do what we can. I mean, I guess from my end of it is just try my best to help out any way I can. I think there's going to be a plan to do that, and we'll just have to, hopefully just see what happens.
Well, let me ask you. You're allowed to do game prep. But you just can't be there on Friday night.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's kind of like a player. When a player gets suspended or rejected from a game, now the difference is the player can actually be there. They just can't play in the game. Well, obviously the coach gets ejected from the game. You got to serve a 1-game suspension. So from my understanding is, the coach obviously, can't be around the locker room. He can't, do his coaching duties on Friday. So that would just mean not being obviously at the game or in the stadium or in the locker room. But, just try to, do help out where you can help out. But this week at practice, we've tried to use it to, not say inspire the kids, because I mean the kids are going to play. I mean, they just got to. I talked to the seniors tonight about just they're the ones going to be out there playing the game. The kids are going to be playing the game. The kids are the ones making all the tackles and passes and blocking, whatever. So they'll play well, and obviously that's why you have a good staff. We've kind of talked a plan there, and we'll just let them play ball and see if we can get a big win.
Coach, I promise I'm not going to continue to beat the dead horse. This will be really my last question about it. You mentioned that Coach Coach Rusty Parton, who has been a head coach before, will be calling the plays. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's very, very knowledgeable. Yeah. And so you have no qualms about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but Coach Parton's obviously, he's been a OC at Farragut when they won a state championship, and was the OC at South Dole when they had Elijah Young and Sean Gary and made runs at it. So, from his end of it, he works obviously with Blaine some as the quarterback. So obviously, working with Blaine, knowing the run game, just knowing what the past stuff we like, that was a logical fit. He's, I think, called offense in over 200 games. So that's great that him and obviously Coach Day, who's, our offensive line coach, can be involved in run game. Coach Branson's going to signal. Coach Mitchell's going to help out with signals and rotating receivers, and obviously feel good about that whole setup. So I think it's going to go pretty smooth Friday.
Coach, we're going to talk about Clinton, their team, in a bit. But we have, like I said, some highlights we need to get going. This past Friday, you kind of mentioned it was kind of a boring game. Not a whole lot of action. They controlled the ball for the most part in the first half. They had that first drive almost took the entire first quarter. It was over 9 minutes.
It was.
And Coach Mark, you want to go ahead and roll the McMinn highlights? This is from last Friday down there. That's always a highlight.
Oh yeah, So we're starting the game out, and they had been under center wing tee. They kind of morphed to a gun. There was some unknown. You see Elijah Bradley, Tajay Walters, JT Gormley in there on a nice tackle. Obviously, the first drive of the game, they Elijah Bradley again folding back inside. He does a nice job of keeping his shoulders square, playing flat down the line. Quarterback pulls it. He's there to make the tackle. But again, they just bled the game out so much with just time of possession, especially in the first quarter. So we get the ball. Here's the screen. So obviously, there's where one of the sideline warnings come into play. So, that's kind of, if you look at our sideline there, it's, we're just kind of walking down the chain line. But the Dozier right there with the little flip outside run play. And offensively, we're obviously, Javis run the ball hard right there. You get a nice blocking by the offensive line. They went up 7-0, so we're kind of fighting back on our first drive to match their score. So it was kind of both drives ended up taking quite a bit of time off the field. Little quad set, throw and catch. There's Valen Henderson there, nice little catch, tuck, get upfield. We're kind of behind the chains there. We were a lot on mental errors, which is unfortunate because we spend a lot of time trying to emphasize, playing focused and disciplined. But, Blaine stays in the pocket, finds the window. At the 10-yard line, got to settle. Eli Pearson, look at the snap hold operation really quick. Nice kick. That's a nice snap hold. TJ Hibben on the snap, Adam Washington on the hold, and Eli Pearson with a nice kick through the uprights. So there's Price coming up, making a nice tackle. He does a great job of playing all over the field on defense. Against Clinton, you'll see him in multiple spots. Price Davis, number 10, nice tackle. He does a great job going low and actually getting guys down and making big collision plays. Throw a little swing route to Javis. That's a nice job right there by him of getting the ball and getting outside. Just got to stay on those blocks a little bit longer. Direct snap. So here we are again. Nice little pitch. We want to pitch it to make sure we get on the edge. Sometimes when you hand that ball off, you got to cut it back. But again, here's Bryce Dorsey, JT Gormley cleaning up on the inside. So, right now I believe it's 7-3 still.
Right.
We're in the second quarter, I believe. So we've kind of adjusted our defensive front a little bit. There's Dallas Front right there on a nice tackle. We're stringing McMinn County down. We're making them play horizontal football, which is what ideally we want to do. They got vertical on the first possession. Now we're kind of making them go horizontal. So now I think we're in the third quarter. So there's another one. There's another sideline. So as you see, our sideline here, that was what was called. So for the people watching the highlights there, by the letter of the law are we out there, but usually you get a little bit of grace on that when you're just walking down the sideline trying to avoid the chains. But nice pass to Brandon right there on the comeback route. So nice run right here by Jarvis. Like I said, this is the first drive of the third quarter. Felt good about the drive. We really did. We kind of got down there, and then, one thing with this game, it just felt like every time we were getting down in the red area, we would just have something, whether it be a false start or, a fumbled handoff or a bad snap. It just was, a weird situation. There it is again, nice throw and catch. So one thing that we're doing, kind of sprint. Now there's a reverse to Will Presley. Get a nice 6-yard gain right there. Kind of misdirection a little bit. Get them flowing one way, possibly the other way. Will has really good linear speed, so he's good about that, about getting around the edge. But, just trying to get something going on offense. So, again, we end up stalling out. Defense, back on the field. Defense is playing inspired right now. I think this was, as you see Brandon coming up from the corner position. You see a lot of white shirts around the ball. And that's kind of the swagger we want to play with the whole game. Okay, we're back on offense. The defense is doing a great job bowing up. There's a nice little hitch route to Will Presley. Just a catch step throw, fired away. Nice concentration. You're going to get hit. Might as well catch the ball. Fight for what you can. Here's a little counter play, a gap scheme to Jarvis. Creasing it up. And as you see, we have the ball in their territory over and over again. This Friday against Clinton, it just comes down to finishing these drives, and we just got to finish them off. But as you see, we're in a third and long situation again. We got to stay out of that. Hand the ball off to Jarvis. He does a good job of getting yardage here. And I believe on fourth down, we try to draw them off sides, and we actually ourselves jump. So, unfortunately, another drive stalled out. Again, Jarvis there with a nice hard run. So we're looking at, just trying to find a way. It's still 7-3 right here. Just trying to find a way to put that drive together that will get us a touchdown to take the lead. So, you're trying to see guys kind of step up and elevate their play a little bit. 4th and 1. Nice run, nice handoff. So, we're down in their territory again, down their 35-yard line. And one thing we got to work on, or just emphasize is just finishing drives off. And that's one thing that we've done, against Powell and Carnes. And the second half against Jefferson County, we finished our drives, and then we were able to get them off the field. Another outside run. There's Price again. Vashon Knowles coming up, cleaning up the horizontal run. Right here, just trying to get some yardage on 3rd and long. There's a draw. And then, unfortunately, it wasn't our night. 14-3 final, and we got to get better.
Non-region game, Coach. So obviously you don't want to lose any ball games, but it was a non-region ball game. You will be moving and playing. I'm not saying it's for the championship coming up Friday, but it is a big game because they are. The top 2 teams, in my personal opinion, are you and Clinton, and that's a region ball game. You got your first region win, though, I guess, a week ago, and we have those highlights too. Well, you want to go ahead and roll those?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get those out of the way. This is the Carnes ball game from a couple of weeks ago. This one's going to be a little longer. You're going to be hoarse after this one, Coach.
Well, obviously, one thing, this was our first true road game of the year. We're having to go to Carnes. And the first play of the game, we get an interception by Brandon Hayward, nice high point. He goes up there and he gets the ball. And we end up, like here we got a sideline warning on that play for excitement, but then we kind of controlled that and maybe got one more the rest of the game, and then that was kind of it, as far as that. So, but Brandon gets a nice high point. He starts us off on a high note against Carnes. One thing we want our guys to do, turn into blockers. If we get an interception now, defense turns to offense. Starting the game out. So here's a 4th down play. There's Blaine hitting Brandon on a little shallow route, nice little dig. He does a good job of originally getting north and south, and then he's got to stay north and south because it's 4th down. But, Carnes kind of came out in this game and gave us a different defensive alignment than what we had prepared for. They brought pressure. They ran about every blitz you could run, so that was good for us to see heavy pressure all night. Okay, here's a little outside run play to Javis. He does a nice job breaking the initial tackle. One thing about Javis, he's low to the ground, so he's hard to bring down. We would like to block that better. We'd like to get 60 block. We had a misstep by an offensive lineman, but, nice play there, right there. We come back and run. If we just a little bit more patient with that, the hole's there. We got really good effort right here. Just want to make sure that he holds on to the ball. Obviously, it's down by contact, but don't give the official any reason to throw a flag for a fumble. But that's a nice hard run to reverse field. Okay, real quick, the little whip route to Almonte Rembert for a touchdown. He stems inside, then goes back to the sideline, creates separation. So, Blaine knows it, knows where he's going, throws him open. You had inside leverage by the corner. That's a really easy pitch and catch. Snap, hold, kick, Eli Pearson, 7-0. Same thing with Carnes defensively. They had not shown as much, power eye offense, and they come out in the game with that. Vashon Knowles there making a tackle. So one thing one thing you see us on defense here is same thing. We were playing pretty good defense. We feel like the past, I guess all season. So we're just kind of going through this thing. You got a Dallas friend around the play. Looks like Elijah Bradley coming off a block from a defensive end spot, separating, making a tackle. And this may have been the halfback pass. 4th down play, huge play by Elijah Bradley. He was going to throw that ball. He actually had a receiver open, but we get to him first, and then we cause the tackle for loss. So obviously Carnes, we're taking over, and I guess they called him down either way. We're getting the ball. It was a 4th down play. Little screen to Brandon. Nice pitch and catch. Nice blocking. Vashon. We got Will Presley blocking out there. Brandon, just taking the ball, getting 20, 23 yards. Trying to stay in rhythm, just be efficient. On offense, we want to stretch the field horizontally, vertically. We want to be a tough preparation for our opponents. So there's a draw. There's a little handoff to Javis. There's a little misdirection run, trying to get them to flow one side, then hand back the other. Like I said, nice job right there, getting north and south. So here's a little screen to Price. He catches the ball, makes that. One thing I like about our skill players is hopefully we can make guys miss, and that's one thing that we're trying to do is to be able to catch the football, and then sometimes there's a guy there making miss, be an athlete. So we're releasing the lineman down the field. The ball's caught at the line of scrimmage. Makes the guy miss right there. He gets a 1st down. There's a bubble to Brandon. Again, these are just quick throws that are getting positive yardage. So, again, we're trying to we're just trying to throw quick. We're trying to make the defense defend every blade of grass out there. And we get good receiver blocking. So the receivers got to block for each other, the line got to block, and your running backs got to block, and all the way around. Same thing. That's the play we were talking about. That play could either be a bounce play, a bang play, or a cutback play. So there, that's a little outside run play we call the way we teach it in our offense. It's kind of a zone play to where a lot of different angles the running back has to choose from. And Javis does a really good job running that play and finding where to go. There's a pass to Vashon Knowles right there. A little play action pass, tight end across the middle of the field. So he does a nice job right there, Blaine, getting his shoulders down. There's Vashon finding the window. And I know he's sitting in front here, but if a real tight end would have scored there. No, I'm just kidding with you. But he does a good job catching that ball. So, and that I think that sets up this touchdown run we have right here by Dozier. One thing with Carnes, they're kind of going. We talked about this, David, the last time. They're kind of going through a little bit of a rebuild. They lost one of the better backs to come out of East Tennessee in a while, Deshaun Bishop, now on the Volunteers. So they're kind of going through a little bit of a rebuild, but it was important. The last time Oak Ridge played there, they lost. So hopefully, we come out. And there's Bryce Dorsey making a tackle. So, again, does a good job reading the screen and comes up and just that's a picture-perfect tackle. Wraps up the legs, keeps the head up. Okay, a little screen pass to Will Presley here, same thing.
Some good blocking.
It is. You got receivers blocking, and what's good about this, David, is this allows us, it just allows us to run horizontal stretches on the field. So it's, we're getting chunks of yardage, but we're doing it in different ways. There's a hitch and go to Almonte Rembert. He does a nice job of stuttering this, and the corner hesitates, and you see Blaine nudge, and the corner now is beat. And against Almonte, you're not going to recover against him. He can run. So big play right there. Obviously this game right here, we were kind of doing some stuff on offense from a play calling standpoint to be up more, but there's Price again, with a nice tackle. As you see right there, he goes low, head up, dislodges the guy from the turf. That's a great, effective way to tackle. I know him and Izzy Mitchell and some of those guys back there excel in that tackling. Some of the smaller players able to use their skill set to their advantage.
You getting the horse, Coach?
No, we're good.
Okay.
So here they go. Drop back pass. Same thing. Another nice tackle by Price right there coming up. Really had a strong game against Carnes. Make a lot of plays. Like I said, he's all over the field playing some safety, playing some Jaguar. Just got to get him around the ball like that. And that's obviously going to be a big matchup here Friday against Clinton. You get a team that has some athletes as well on the perimeter. So we're back on offense right here. We're in doubles. Our spread's set. Blaine obviously feels a little bit of pressure, exits out, runs for a first down.
Do you want him to run more?
Not really, but
Okay.
just I guess when you have to. That just goes back to, being a sophomore, obviously feeling the pocket out. There's a jet sweep to Brandon. We're, our biggest thing is, we want him to go through his first and second reads and get the ball out. And that's why we're throwing so much quick game stuff, and we want the ball to be out quick, and then, if you got to pull it down and run, pull it down and run. But that's just going to come, by the time you get to the end of the year, he'll be playing like a junior. There's Javis again. He does a good job of cutting back across the field, sees a crease. The offensive line doing a great job right there. It looked like maybe Jared Bafford with the pancake right there, playing left tackle for us. So offensively, I think that was the drive that we may have stalled out. There's a nice quick throw. There's Valen Henderson, Izzy Mitchell on the nice quick tackle. Driving on the ball. That's what defensive backs got to do, is decipher that ball, stick the foot in the ground, drive on it. Feel good about the way our defense, like we said, the way our defense is playing. Those guys should be amped up Friday because they're going to see a spread wide open offense with the Dragons. There's Javis again getting run out of bounds. Nice run. Does a nice job of I guess that's a jump cut right there. He's a jump cutting through the linebacker. We just had a lot of yards of offense this game. I think we had 510 yards of offense or something like that. Nice throw and catch. Izzy Mitchell there at the X position runs a good hitch route. You catch a hitch ball like that, you're going to get hit, so you might as well catch the ball and then just get what you can after the catch. There's the back view. And for us, this is 100% stuff. You get a soft corner, you got to throw a hitch 100% of the time. That's a 7 or 8 yard run play. Same thing with the bubble. A bubble, so instead of having 5 guys block 6, we're just getting 2 on 2, throw it out to Brandon. Block. You see him out running that nickel right there for Carnes, 29. So we're just playing a spatial game. And that was one thing against McMinn, we got to do a better job of, is just taking those quick throws. And there you go. There's Dallas coming up. Nice tackle. So again, as you see, it leverages the ball. His head, eyes are up, runs through the thigh pad. Okay, there's another handoff there. Dozier.
He runs hard just about every time.
He's going to run hard, and that's one thing we challenge those guys, those skill guys, break tackles. So you're a receiver, you're a tight end, you're a running back, quarterback. Break tackles. Obviously the offensive linemen are doing a great job. But, that's really what it comes down to, from a skill position standpoint. Can you break them tackles? As you see, another quick throw. So what we're doing is, if we see this again, Carnes is walking everybody up. They're shooting through gaps. So we're just going to throw it away from the blitz and let Brandon work on that overhang player and just get him the ball in space and feel like he's a better athlete than that kid. And, if he is, it's a great play. If he's not, then we, obviously it won't be as good a play, but it seemed to work out well this game of doing that, just kind of throwing quick and being efficient. Same thing, another screen play. So they're, when you get a team that blitzes the whole time like Carnes is, they've been told all week, hey, we're coming after the quarterback. So we jump a little running back screen right there. So again, he's getting 10, 15 yards, a lot of chunk plays. And this is simple stuff. I think sometimes against McMinn we kind of got in the rut of just pushing the ball down the field versus being a little bit more patient and just kind of guiding the ball down the field like we did against Carnes, and I guess the second half against Powell and the second half against Jefferson County.
You got to feel good about your offensive line because they've done a really good job.
Offensive line left to right. You got Jared Bafford, Elijah Young, both sophomores, bright futures. You got Malachi Bonner, pretty much been playing center all year, junior. Kanan Hickson, a right guard, senior. Ethan Eubanks, right tackle. There was Izzy Mitchell blocking a field goal. He gets tremendous lean, on the ball, so he bends his body. Watch him contort his body. The shortest path in front of the kick is that curve, which he does. Big play right there, special teams player of the week, and that's why in this game. Another screen to Will Presley. Will can really run. And David, the offensive line is just going to get better, because you got 2 sophomores, you got 2 juniors, and a first-year senior starter. So we've done a good job rebuilding that, and that's one thing that I think we want to see for those Kane with a nice pull and kick. If you saw that pull right there, he really got into the player. He runs through the player. So that's what we need on Friday night. We need to block like that against him. Blaine, throw to Brandon across the middle. He had good time right there. We put a new play in. Felt like we had the vertical divide there.
Getting towards the end of the ball game.
Oh yeah.
Here.
That was good. We're able to run some offense, and there's Vashon running down on a kickoff. And this player right there thought he had something and saw Zero close the gap really quick. There's David Jenkins with a forced fumble. TJ Hibben on the fumble recovery. So, again, we're getting some takeaways right there. If you watch this play right here, they run a little power play. There we come in. We get a hammer on the ball. We knock it out. And we get a recovery right there by TJ. It was a really good job scooping the ball up. You got Parker Free in at quarterback, throwing to Price Davis. Obviously, Parker, freshman, got a big arm. Not a big body, but he got a big arm, very smart, knows the offense. And I think his arm's getting stronger and stronger out there today. He was throwing 55-yard balls today in practice. He got Riker arms on the carry. So, again, another outside run play. He decides to bounce it. Does a good job right there, getting north and south. There's another uncovered receiver. Pretty simple, just throwing uncovered receiver right there. To me, that's just a run play. We're just throwing to uncovered. Nice pitch and catch. 5-6 yard gain, which those plays will move the chains forward. So there's Riker running up there, inside run. As you see, he does a nice job making that cut right there, getting north and south. Finishing the run. You got some offensive linemen down there pushing it. So as you see right here, we're going to get in the goal line, run our outside play, outside run play. We do a nice job right there getting in the end zone. So, again, we're going to bounce the play. And we get north and south, push it through, and we get in the end zone. Nice touchdown run right there. Score, 41-0 here. The clock's going to engage. There's Frankie Ortasia with the extra point.
Got some younger guys.
We got some younger guys in the game. Let's see here. Got Quavez coming up. That's Gary Carlisle right there making a nice scrape in pursuit.
You're getting the horse, I can tell.
You got Nate Stevens there, Gary Carlisle, David Jenkins. Now we're still going.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to interject, though, a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to help you a little bit there.
But, again, that's obviously a good win at Carnes to go 1-0 in the region. And kind of like you were saying, now we have a chance to play a big region game this Friday.
Coach, you want to continue on with the JV, or you want to take a break and come back and talk about Clinton? We've got about 13 minutes left.
We can continue on with the JV. That's fine.
Well, let's do the Carnes JV.
Yeah.
Let's do the Carnes JV. Yeah, I think so. So we'll get Pal maybe next week.
Yeah.
We're going to do some interviews, too. Mark's having it queued up. We're going to start doing our player interviews
Pal
again. Yep. Well, that's Pal. We'll go with Pal and do Carnes next week.
Obviously, Riker right there. This was a fun game. Obviously, Pal JV, a little Labor Day action. TJ Hibben right there, Rush Douglas, Gary Carlisle in on the play.
It seems like so long ago, Coach.
It does, yeah. I mean, looks like that's Adam Washington coming up from the safety spot making a play. It does. Football season's obviously, there's Don Vasquez, little freshman getting in there on some JV. Brantley Taylor, Tyree Porter around the ball. They do a nice job of forcing a fumble. Brantley Taylor on the recovery.
Spike.
What now? So there's Jamichael Howard on the carry. We're, like we said, kind of a weird day, out of school. You got Parker Free rolling out. Throws a nice little corner route to Tyree Porter there, toe tapping the sideline. A little screen pass to Riker Arms. Watch how nice this was set up. I think this may have been the fourth down play, I think. So he does a great job right there staying down the sideline. There's TJ Hibben on a big sack. So this was a combined game. We got some freshmen out there with some, JV players. Looks like you got a Monte Bishop right there coming up off the outside linebacker spot, sacking the quarterback. TJ Hibben again. There's Dominique Fields.
I like
So-
this show, Coach. I don't have to talk much.
Well, there's a little quick toss to Riker. And you got Caden Stewart out there blocking for him. Big, nice gain, and sometimes, obviously, in these games, we're going to motion out. There's a screen to Adam Washington. Would like to see that ball tucked more firm, but he does a good job of getting north and south. As you see, that's that screen play. We motion out the guy to block the corner. Parker's got to realize when the ball's handed off, go find someone. Don't look back just yet. But there's Riker making a play. One thing obviously we're trying to do here is establish the run. There's some gap run scheme stuff. We do a nice job with our counter scheme as far as blocking down, kicking out. And Riker does a good job of hitting that thing north and south. Boom, there's TJ Hibb and Caden Stewart right there on a big sack. Yep, both of them right there, kind of coming off the edge, sandwich him. So you got Parker free, making a nice play there to, I believe that's Adam Washington. No, that's not him. Let's see who that was. Looked like, but wasn't though. Oh, now we're getting overtime, I think.
Right before it, I think.
Right before, yeah. So we, at one point we had a game-winning field goal opportunity. We decided to do dead special teams. That one went live. That was a nice little fake handoff. Parker coming through. There we go. That's a game winner right there. Boom. Right in the camera.
Right.
Right in the action. The Riker knew where the camera was at, so there's the extra point. Boom. So we're in overtime right here. I think it was a 14-7 game. And then this was the one we stop him. Let's see, you had TJ Hibb and Nate Stevens right there. Maybe Owen Logabed may have been involved there. But we stopped the Panthers in overtime. We got to practice our celebrations a little bit, but it's big, big, big to get that win.
Coach, we only have like 9 more minutes, so
Yeah.
I apologize to the people who played in the Carnes Junior Varsity.
Yeah.
We will play that next week.
We will.
And we will play the Clinton
Yes.
JV if they continue to play that game on Monday. But let's talk about Clinton. We've got a few minutes
Yeah.
left here. The Clinton Dragons, talented football team. And, they say every year this is the year of the Dragon.
Uh-huh.
They said that 13 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
been 13 consecutive wins by Oak Ridge. And the school record beating Clinton is 13 straight. We've done it twice in our history. You're going for 14. Not to put any pressure on you, Coach, but you got the Dragons. Talk about this Clinton team you'll see Friday.
Well, I mean, obviously, the number one experience, and you've heard about it. We've all heard about it. Obviously, when Coach Keith come in and brought Joshua, his son, with him, Joshua's been starting now. This will be his third year full-time starter quarterback. They got a really talented group around him. They've done a great job of getting guys, whether it be, connection here, connection there in. And, they really have. This was going to be their year in the preseason. They started out, lost to Cleveland, lost to West, lost to Powell. They beat Scott County and Campbell County. Both of those games were decisive wins. So, they're very talented. You kind of brought back the 08-09 years of when Darian Stone and Weston Hazelhurst and those guys were playing. And, 08-09, they won back-to-back games. So, talented like that group. Obviously for us, though, but we have a lot of talent as well. And I think one thing we talk to our kids about is in a game like this, obviously it's a rivalry game. I've coached in a lot of rivalry games, played in them. There's going to be adrenaline. There's going to be high spirits. It all comes down to which team's group of playmakers makes the most plays. And that's what's really going to come down to. Does the Oak Ridge group make the most plays, or does the Clinton group make the most plays? And there's going to be some momentum swings because their quarterback does a great job of buying time, and he can sling the ball down the field, and their running back can break some tackles. So we just have to keep playing 4 quarters. We can't be the team that breaks first. We got to make, regardless of how the game starts, we just got to chop wood for 4 quarters. We just got to grind on it, and whatever happens, still believe the whole time. And I think if we do that, we'll be okay.
I watched the Powell ball game actually, and it was really a kind of a blowout early,
Yeah,
and
Clinton
got back into it really by the legs of
They
Keith,
did.
Joshua Keith. And Goins is a good running back too.
Yeah.
I think you. I was talking to you beforehand. I guess I'm not the coach. I'm just the guy who blabbers all the time. But you got to contain him. You got to put pressure on him, and you got to contain him.
Well, I think with a dual threat quarterback, it's so hard because he can run and throw, and he has experience. So he has experience, and he has some talented receivers around him. So obviously he can run, he can throw. You have to contain 3. That's the biggest thing. You can't let him make ad-lib busted plays outside the pocket. So you have to maintain 3. You're going to have to tackle number 9. And it sounds cliche, but you have to minimize the big plays because Powell and West and Cleveland, Cleveland was a little bit different, but Powell and West didn't let them get big plays. They created a couple interceptions. And then when they were on offense, they kind of dictated Clinton's defense. They were able to drive the ball down the field using the running game, quick throwing game to score touchdowns. They stopped Clinton, scored touchdowns, and then both of those teams built up big leads, and then Clinton just didn't have enough time to come back.
I think you've got a special teams advantage on them. Hopefully that's something you can utilize.
Well, we do. I mean, their kickoff game, it's kind of scary because he just – when this kid kicks the ball off, we have no idea where it's going. I don't think he does either. So our kickoff return team has to be ready. It may go out of bounds. It may be a line drive. It may be a squib kick. But once we secure the ball there, extra point field goals, they kind of use a lineman to do that. So we should be able to block and be disruptive there. But like I said, our kickoff coverage has to be on point because they're going to have number 9 back there returning kicks. So, but overall, you're right. I think special teams, we have an advantage. And I think our special teams is going to have to make a couple plays. Maybe whether it be duress a punt, maybe it block extra point. Maybe we get a line drive kickoff return and return it to the 50, and then that gives us a short field. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of matchups here and there, but I think special teams we'd have an advantage.
Coach, what will you have to do to win the ball game?
I think it comes down to maybe a couple things. Number one, regardless of me, I've not been able to play in a football game in 16, 17 years, so these kids will be out there doing that. Number one, I think on defense, we've played really good defense all year, and I think defensively, if we just stay in position, and we make Clinton drive the ball down the field and force them into making mistakes. I think we got to minimize the big play, number one, minimize the broken scramble play from Joshua Keith. I think special teams, we just got to play sound. I think on offense, what we didn't do against McMinn is we had a chance to make 2 or 3 big plays in the throw game, and for whatever reason, we didn't do it. And I think we're going to run the ball well, but I think there's also a couple of times that we're going to have some receivers step up and catch that ball and break a tackle and have that big play. And, hopefully we can do that. And I think if our offense, if we connect on a couple of big plays on offense, I'll feel really good about it because, we feel like we're going to move the ball. We've done it all year. It's just finishing those drives.
Coach, I'm sorry you're not going to be on the sidelines because there's nothing better than an Oak Ridge Clinton ball game.
Yeah.
Especially, there's nothing better than playing a ball game at Blankenship Field, but there's something kind of cool about that field. I mean, it's so close.
Yeah, I've been there many times.
Yeah, the sidelines are kind of like McMinn, Coach. So I guess
yeah, it used to be, they used to get so rowdy in that end zone student section. And when both teams come out, now I think they've changed it now, but both teams just come out that little tunnel when it was like, wow, you're going to have a fight out here or not. But it's always been rowdy. You're always around the field, and it stinks for me. I mean, I'm just sick to my stomach, but, it is what it is. I mean, but yeah, it'll be fun for everybody involved, and just gotta believe in your kids and believe in your coaches, and we do that here at Oak Ridge, and just excited to watch them perform regardless of who's there or not there.
Coach, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Game is Friday night. It's Oak Ridge against the Clinton Dragons. It's over at Clinton. We'll help you'll go over. I believe it is a 7 o'clock kickoff. I mean, 7:30 was it at McMinn County. I believe it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. We encourage everyone to go. As I said, we're going to continue next week. We'll start our player interviews once again. We'll have highlights of the Clinton game. We'll have the JV. We'll hope you'll join us back here at the Pizza Inn. For Mark and Shauna, who did our technical work, and all of you people who came out to the Pizza Inn, including Vashon over here waving hello or goodbye to us. This is David Clary. Until next week, saying so long, everybody.
it's hard to stop a train.
I enjoy living and raising a family in East Tennessee because it's always been home to me. One thing that makes Fox Insurance Group stand out from other agencies is our customer service. Insurance, a lot of times, for a lot of people, is not something they really like to deal with, so I like to be there for them and help them through the process. It makes me feel good when I know my customer can rely on me and trust me. Yes, I'm very excited Fox Insurance Group is now an independent agency. It opens up so many doors for our customers and the agency as a whole, and we're going to be there for you when you need us the most.
After straining myself throwing at football practice, I knew something wasn't right. But the team at TOC worked to get me back in action with a recovery plan, dedicated therapy, and encouragement that I would be well again. I'm playing the game I love again thanks to TOC.